District Board of Trustees is called to order in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, the Open Meetings Act. During this meeting, the board will be conducting business from the agenda posted in the Texas Register. Members of the board present for this meeting are Vice Chairman Darylyn Perryman, Secretary Pastor Larry Miles, members Mano de Ayala, but not for long, Judge Molly Francis, Judge Faith Johnson, Ambassador Sishan Siv, Eric Nichols, and Dr. Rodney Burrow. A quorum is present, and the 333rd meeting of the board is declared open. It is 8 a.m. Before we get started, I would like to invite you to join in pledging allegiance to our United States and Texas flags. Chief of Staff Jason Clark will lead us in the pledges. Mr. Clark, please proceed. To the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Dr. Burrow, will you open up our meeting with a word of prayer?
Yes, sir. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today and to serve the people in the state of Texas, Lord. Lord, we pray that you bless the Windham School District and everyone involved with it, Lord. The administrators, faculty, teachers, and most of all the students, Lord. We pray that you just bless them and the knowledge that's bestowed upon them, Lord, and let it be beneficial for them. Lord, we pray that you bless our state and our country with everything going on, Lord. And thank you so much for this Christmas season and what it means. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. As a courtesy to speakers and guests in the meeting, please turn electronic devices to the silent or vibrate mode. Thank you. I am not aware of any public officials or staff representatives that are here with us today, but are there any present? Hearing none, thank you though still for your support. The Windham School District Board of Trustees is committed to providing an opportunity for public presentations on posted agenda topics, as well as for public comments on issues within its jurisdiction as provided in Board Rule 300.1. Persons interested in speaking at today's meeting were required to complete and submit a registration card at least 10 minutes prior to the meeting's posted start time. As no cards were received prior to the required deadline, the board will not hear public presentations on posted agenda topics today. And with that, we will move into recognitions. So let's begin. Windham School District Superintendent Christina Hartman would like to recognize several individuals today. Ms. Hartman, if you are ready, please proceed.
Yes, I would first like to recognize Rachel Taylor. Rachel joined Windham School District in April of 22 as the executive assistant to the superintendent. Prior to joining Windham, she served as the administrative assistant to the chief technology officer and the inventory specialist for Huntsville Independent School District Technology Department for 6 years. Upon high school graduation, she pursued a softball scholarship to Southern Arkansas University, where she received her bachelor's degree in business administration with a minor in agriculture. In her spare time, Rachel and her husband enjoy playing t-ball at the ballpark with their son, spending time with family, and enjoying the outdoors. Rachel has been an instrumental addition to the Windham team. Her organizational skills and motivation to help are unmatched. Rachel keeps me on track with my day-to-day tasks, as well as ensuring that I am prepared for upcoming events and conferences. She regularly completes tasks before being asked and communicates well with campus-based and administration staff. She has a great personality and a knack for decorating and making others feel welcome. Please join me in welcoming Rachel to Windham.
I just want to say thank you, and I look forward to continuing to serve Windham and everything that we get to do. So.
Well, great. Great to have you here, and let's get a picture taken. Oh, Ms. Hartman, please continue.
Okay, the next recognition is Danielle Nichols. Danielle Nichols joined Windham in June of 2020 as the executive assistant to the superintendent, working diligently to ensure organization and smooth functioning of the office. She then transitioned to the communications department as a communications coordinator in September of 2021. In this role, she works to increase communication efforts across the district, drafts various reports, and provides support to the communications administrator. Danielle's career in an educational setting began first teaching the first and third grade in public schools, where she was recognized as the Rookie Teacher of the Year. Prior to teaching, Danielle had extensive experience performing administrative tasks. Danielle received her Bachelor of Science in Human Sciences from Texas Tech University in 2017 and holds her EC6 core subjects in English as a second language certificates. She graduated summa cum laude from West Texas A&M with her Master of Education in School Counseling in 2020. Danielle is the liaison between Windham and outside entities, coordinating and tracking partnerships. In addition, she is a liaison between the district and the board office for communication of updates, coordination of visits, and preparing for upcoming meetings. Please join me in congratulating Danielle on her accomplishments.
Thank you, Ms. Hartman. Ms. Danielle, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Working with Windham has truly been a blessing, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Ms. Nichols. Would you like to join us at the seal for a photo? Ms. Hartman? Ms. Hartman, please proceed.
The next recognition is Felicia Johnson. Felicia Johnson started her career in education as a teacher's aide in public school to supplement her income. Little did she know it was going to lead to a love for teaching and desire to help and motivate others. Mrs. Johnson began her career in correctional education in 2004 as a testing specialist on the Cofield campus. After working with students and experiencing the Windham educational process, she developed a renewed desire to continue her career in education. In 2006, Mrs. Johnson returned to school to obtain a generalist 4 through 8 teaching certification, and in 2009, she was promoted to an academic teaching position where she taught literacy and went on to teach changes. Mrs. Johnson was in the classroom for 6 years before being promoted to the school student advisor position in 2015. In 2017, she became the principal of the Cofield campus. As a campus principal, Mrs. Johnson was awarded the Windham School District 2021-22 Principal of the Year Award. In September of 22, Mrs. Johnson was selected as the administrator of the Assessment, Advisement, and Records Department within the Windham School District. Mrs. Johnson holds a bachelor's degree in sociology with a minor in psychology from the University of Texas at Tyler and a dual master's degree in school counseling and licensed professional counseling from LeTourneau University. Mrs. Johnson believes that learning is a lifelong process, and it is her desire to always motivate, inspire, teach, learn, and help others.
Thank you, Ms. Hartman. Congratulations, Ms. Johnson. And you do have your picture up in the hall now, don't you, for being the Principal of the Year? Oh, you brought it down. All right. Well, would you like to say a few words?
They always say what's in you comes out of you. So first, I just have to thank God for all that He has done for me. But I want to thank the Windham School District has been really good to me, and I appreciate everything. I appreciate you all for allowing me this opportunity. Thank you, Ms. Hartman.
Well, and since you took your picture down, we'll have to get another picture. Ms. Hartman, please continue.
Our next recognition is Ashley Kuntz. Ashley Kuntz has a diverse background spanning 14 years in corrections, rehabilitation, and education. Ashley is a dedicated Sam Houston State University Bearcat, receiving her Bachelor of Science in Business Administration in 2009, a Master of Business Administration with an emphasis in management in 2018, and a Master of Science in Criminal Justice in 2020. She began her career with the Rehabilitation Programs Division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, where she coordinated volunteer efforts and assisted with statewide rehabilitative initiatives. In her 6 years with this division, she managed special projects and helped execute legislative efforts throughout the agency. She also worked with agency officials, outside agencies, and government officials to review and implement incoming rehabilitation programs, ensuring strict standards were met. She then assumed a new role as a project coordinator with the Correctional Management Institute of Texas, located within the College of Criminal Justice at Sam Houston State University. For 7 years, she coordinated state, national, and international correctional training programs and educational conferences. In this role, she also served as the executive director of multiple correctional professional associations, providing oversight for fiscal management, professional development and coordination, and business management, as well as managing official communications for the organizations. Ashley joined the Windham School District in March of 2022 as the College and Career Liaison. Her current role focuses on post-secondary education opportunities for students, as well as implementing career readiness initiative for residents and students within the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. This role includes developing and maintaining relationships and agreements with colleges, district partners, the TBCJ, and other external stakeholders. Please join me in welcoming Ashley to her new role with Windham.
Thank you, Ms. Hartman, and congratulations, Ms. Kuntz, on your new role. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. I think it's obvious that I have some sort of passion for this world that we're all working in. I'm just really excited to be able to be a part of it still.
Well, let's get a picture taken. The next agenda item covers consent items. Are there any amendments, objections, or abstentions to the proposed consent items? Hearing none, the consent items posted for the meeting's agenda will stand approved. The next item on the agenda is a report from the superintendent of the Windham School District, Christina Hartman. If you are ready, Ms. Hartman, please proceed.
Good morning, Chairman and board members. Building upon the powerful idea of TBCJ's Executive Director, Brian Collier, Windham School District developed a 2030 plan with goals and objectives outlined to promote district, staff, and student success. These goals were formulated with the purpose to grow, advance, and progress as a district. Our 2030 plan aims to enhance the Windham vision through incorporation of new programs, collaborative partnerships, and endless possibilities. The 4 areas outlined in the Windham 2030 plan are educational programs, technology advancements, communication and culture, and career and community. Windham School District's 2030 plan was a team effort developed through multiple planning sessions, collaboration, and distribution to all district staff along with students and community stakeholders for input. With the implementation of these goals, Windham will be able to provide exemplary services to our students, ensuring utmost preparation for success upon reentry. Please enjoy this video outlining Windham's 2030 plan. Please enjoy my description of the 2030 plan video. And we will certainly schedule it for another time. There was a lot of thought and effort put into it, and as we know, technology occasionally is our friend and occasionally is our nemesis. So in the video, you would have seen comments from staff, students. Here we go, all right.
For more than 50 years, Windham School District has empowered students through education. With steadfast commitment to our staff, students, and our mission, we look to advance our vision for our district and our Texas communities. Our 2030 plan positions us for the future, a future that is full of innovative programs, collaborative partnerships, and endless possibilities. A future centered around educational programs, technology advancements, communication and culture, career and community. A future dedicated to restoring lives.
Windham will continue collaboration with TBCJ and various educational partners in order to support the progression of Windham graduates to post-secondary education and advanced training. Through partnerships and discussions, Windham will provide guidance to eligible students for enrollment into apprenticeship, employment, or post-secondary education programs following completion of Windham training.
Windham currently has partnership agreements in place with Lee College for dual enrollment and integrated education and training. The district will continue collaboration with various educational partners in order to support the progression of the Windham graduates to post-secondary education and advanced training. Through partnerships and discussion, Windham will provide guidance to eligible students for enrollment in apprenticeship, employment, or post-secondary education program following completion of Windham training.
By the year 2030, Windham plans on advancing technology on a multitude of platforms. By increasing bandwidth efficiency, students will be able to access courses online, to listen to guest speakers via remote technology, and utilize virtual software for student interviews.
Currently, our students use technology to prepare for tests, access curriculum software, and experience community activities such as grocery shopping through virtual reality.
Windham plans to take the technology initiative to the next level by offering field trips and industry visits that align curriculum such as culinary arts students visiting a food bank through virtual reality.
The future is technology, and Windham's goals for advancements promote availability, education, and enhancement for students in more ways than one.
In addition to increased campus visits, each Windham campus will host an off-campus team building activity that emphasizes student success. This initiative was piloted in the 2021-2022 school year and proved to be a resounding success. By implementing these activities district-wide, staff morale will soar.
Through district-wide needs assessments, Windham School District will provide robust, informative agendas from input provided by staff. The district will expand professional development opportunities to include in-person and virtual platforms.
Windham School District recognizes the power in their students' voice. In order to encourage communication of former student successes, challenges, and suggestions, Windham will establish a forum to include regional alumni events and a social media group.
Currently, our students prepare for employment through mock interviews with leadership. By the year 2030, in alignment with TBCJ's goal, Windham will increase employment of eligible students and graduates to 95% prior to their return to Texas communities by facilitating pre-release interviews. The components of WSD's 2030 plan are focused around the advancement of our district and success of our staff and students.
The future of the Windham School District is innovative and exciting. Our team is motivated by the established goals in the 2030 plan that will promote success in the classroom, in the lives of staff and students, and in our Texas communities. Through the 2030 plan goals and objectives, Windham will support our educators and staff, expand educational programs, advance technology, enhance communication, and increase career readiness and gainful employment of our students. The future is bright at Windham School District. That concludes my report. I will pause for any questions.
Well, thank you, Ms. Hartman. And I will say the video was well worth waiting for, so
Yes.
very well done. I think somebody has finally outshone Mr. Cerrito, so I like your video. Are there any other comments from the board? Hearing none, the next item on the agenda is the chairman's report. Each year, the Windham School District promotes exciting, interactive learning activities to encourage enrollment in Windham educational programs. This year, the non-traditional Day of Learning was held on October 28th with participation district-wide. These curriculum-enhanced activities maximize student recruitment, attendance, and fun for all. The annual non-traditional Day of Learning activities were incorporated into Windham in 2020 as an initiative to increase enrollment, spread awareness of program availability, and promote recruitment of students. Through program exposure, students experience motivation and educational success. As a result, students are inspired to enroll, seeking the opportunity to build upon their experience in Windham programs. The events coordinated by the campuses align with instructional needs while incorporating exciting activities. The Dominguez campus theme for the day was Building Relationships. This theme was incorporated to encourage staff and students to create positive relationships that promote learning. Students participated in board games, financial literacy activities, and created bulletin boards to display student accomplishments. Students at the Estelle campus participated in a fashion show, which enabled students to work together to design items of clothing such as shirts, pants, and hats made of newspaper. Following creation of their unique items, students walked down the red carpet to showcase their masterpieces to the crowd of staff and classmates. In addition, cup stacking activities were provided in order to enhance team building and collaboration. All activities encourage communication, critical thinking, and creativity among the students. The theme at the Woodman campus was Don't Overreact, It's Just Science. Students learned about chemical reactions, participated in experiments, and played science bingo. Some of the students' experiments included lemon volcanoes, slime, and elephant toothpaste. I have no idea what elephant toothpaste might be. Bingo helped students learn various science science terminology and allowed them to participate in friendly competition. Educators at the Mountain View campus taught a lesson on character traits. Students then created a monster and were tasked with describing their traits, personalities, and skills, both visually and through creative writing. The monsters were hung on the walls of the education department for all to observe. Non-traditional learning at the Hightower campus consisted of game day. CTE students planned, created, and built games to play. Preparation included measuring angles to ensure smooth functionality of the game. Academic and life skills students played a variety of games that required accurately reviewing previous knowledge learned. In addition, all Hightower students were given the opportunity to participate in a cornhole tournament. The cornhole boards were built by CTE students on a previous non-traditional learning day. Hughes Automotive fundamental students broke into teams to solve brain teasers that revealed clues upon completion. The clues led them to identify different automotive parts, such as the timing belt. The team that completed the task first and correctly was awarded a golden wrench autographed by the team members. Academic students at the Hughes campus were tasked with finding the most examples of figurative language in a story. Windham's 2022 non-traditional day of learning was a success for both staff and students. Feedback received from campus principals indicated that the day was full of learning, excitement, and fun. The activities and lessons coordinated by the campuses exceeded expectations, both for allowing learners to experience educational accomplishments firsthand and by promoting future enrollees to be motivated for success. Windham is excited to continue educating existing students as well as the opportunity to open the door to education for others. And with that completes my chairman's report. The next item on the agenda is a communications team update presented by Windham School District Communications Coordinator Danielle Nichols. Ms. Nichols, please join us. You're already at the podium, and if you're ready, please proceed.
Good morning, Chairman, board members, and Superintendent Hartman. The Windham School District's Communication Department is dedicated to increasing communication to a variety of stakeholders through a multitude of platforms. Through enhancing our social media presence and consistently seeking ways to improve district communication, our team is challenged and motivated to succeed. The Windham's communication team consists of 6 positions with team members all dedicated to the overall goal of increasing district-wide communication efforts. On our team, we have a communications administrator, communications coordinator, graphic designer, social media and communications content producer, managing editor, and social media and communications intern. In my role as communications coordinator, I assist in coordinating and developing communication strategies, creating and distributing visuals such as pamphlets, brochures, and drafting content for a variety of purposes. I serve as the liaison between Windham and various entities such as the board office and develop and track memorandum of understandings between the district and a multitude of partners. For example, Bulkley Trucking, Lee College, and the Department of Family Protective Services. In addition, I provide program and technical support to the superintendent. In the absence of an administrator, I coordinate the development and distribution of the monthly newsletter, annual performance report, and miscellaneous district communications. Our monthly newsletter includes updates and highlights from departments and campuses and is distributed to all staff for viewing. Mary Partita, graphic designer, is essential in coordinating visual graphics and formatting a variety of items for the district. Mary specializes in ensuring our district brand is consistent, formatting is functional, and provides technical support district-wide for various templates, including graduation programs, campus brochures, and the graphics for state and national conferences. In addition, Mary is instrumental in the layout and organization of our annual performance report. Dylan Allen is Windham's social media and communications content producer. He is the architect behind our social media platforms. He develops, prepares, and schedules all of our posts on platforms such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, and monitors the reception that WSD receives online from individuals and other organizations. In addition, Dylan travels frequently to miscellaneous campuses and events to ensure coverage and reaches out to campus officials to obtain valuable content for Windham's digital platforms. Dylan is also responsible for the compilation and creation of our videos highlighting various programs and events, such as our 2030 Plan video and graduations. In addition, he produces the videos that are shown at our board meetings. On the communications team is also Bambi Kaiser, managing editor of The Echo. The Echo is a newspaper for residents written by residents. It is made possible through a memorandum of understanding between TDCJ and Windham beginning in 2001. Bambi is located in the education department on the Wynn campus, supervising and leading the development of the Echo from start to finish. She is instrumental in locating stories, scheduling interviews, and ensuring that copy is finalized in time for publication. Bambi supervises 6 resident workers who assist her in writing, formatting, and publishing the Echo newspaper 10 times a year. The Echo publishes 140,000 12-page issues per distribution, with copies provided for each resident of TDCJ. There is also a subscription list which includes outside stakeholders such as family members, volunteer groups, and legislators. The Echo provides an effective means of communicating information from TDCJ and WSD directly to the readers, while also motivating them with success stories, inspirational articles, and creative pieces. Windham also utilizes intern positions to offer college students or recently graduated students for an opportunity to gain experience in their area of training. Recently, the communications team hired a social media and communications intern, Shelby McVeigh. Shelby joined our team right out of college and eager to learn. She has been essential in writing content for a variety of outlets, including social media posts and our APR. Shelby also works closely with Bambi in coordinating and developing the Echo. The communications team is full of talented, motivated individuals dedicated to promoting communications across the effort. In addition to our weekly and monthly items, we also recently kicked off an exciting project completely renovating our website. Windham has contracted with a third party to collaborate and produce an updated website that is more user-friendly and conducive to reaching our various audiences. The communications team works diligently to ensure that Windham staff and stakeholders are communicated with regularly on a variety of platforms. Through implementation of multiple strategies, we strive to continue making advancements in increasing communication efforts district-wide. This concludes my report, and I will pause for any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the board?
I would just like to say that I always enjoy my copy of the Echo. And when I get it, I stop what I'm doing and I read it cover to cover. So if you would pass that along.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I'd also say, I didn't realize you produced a monthly newsletter
Yes, sir.
for the staff. So is that just of issues concerning Windham, or?
It's updates, highlights that are submitted by different departments and campus principals that they either want to message to the staff or if they have highlights that they want to include.
I think that'd be great to send that to the board, too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the board members would like to get that. We could get that. All
Can
right.
do.
Well,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you very much, Ms. Nichols,
Thank
for your
you.
presentation. The next item on the agenda is a presentation on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Windham School District Professional Development Administrator Mario Cotton will be presenting today. Mr. Cotton, please, well, you're at the podium, and if you're ready, you may begin.
Good morning, everyone, board members, Chairman O'Daniel, and Superintendent Hartman. As mentioned, my name is Mario Cotton. I am the program administrator for the Professional Development Department, and in addition, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer of the Windham School District. Recognizing and celebrating diversity is a priority at the Windham School District. All individuals have different characteristics and varying backgrounds that make them unique. They are equally as important and deserve to be recognized, celebrated, and valued. They are equally as important and deserve to be recognized in order to ensure inclusivity and diversity district-wide. In addition, Windham created a diversity mission statement in January of 2020. The statement highlights the importance of recognizing the contributions and accomplishments of many diverse groups. Windham strives to foster an environment that is supportive of all cultures, traditions, challenges, and achievements while simultaneously spreading awareness of these unique backgrounds. To support the mission statement, a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee was formed. The purpose of the committee is to meet regularly and discuss various ways to celebrate diversity across the district. The voluntary committee consists of Windham staff that want to help spread cultural awareness and recognition. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee meet prior to each school district to discuss the themes to be highlighted throughout the year. Each month is dedicated to honoring a different heritage, culture, ethnicity, or group. Examples include Black History Month, Women's History Month, Native American Heritage Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, Asian American Pacific Islander Month, and Second Chance Month. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee is dedicated to providing input in addition in increasing diversity among our recruiting efforts regarding staff. Our goal is to hire qualified applicants from all backgrounds and abilities, thus creating a workforce rich in diversity and inclusion. Each month, campuses are encouraged to celebrate the theme in classroom activities, discussion, and instruction. Campuses provide us photos of their celebrations to be included in our monthly newsletter, also in our social media platforms as well. In addition, we've had guest speakers that have been arranged in order to provide further discussion of information of the theme of the month that's being highlighted. For example, in March of 2022, Dr. Bernadette Pruitt, she is at Sam Houston State University. She's an associate professor, and she spoke to the Windham Administration Building, it was via Zoom, to deliver her presentation on the legacy of the Great Migration. This resounding presentation included details of her family history, challenges, and accomplishments that play a role in her success today at Sam Houston State University. In May of 2022, Windham celebrated Asian American and Pacific Islander History Month. This month was dedicated to feature the contributions and influence of Asian Americans and Pacific Islander Americans to the history, culture, and achievements of the United States. Board member Ambassador Sishan Siv spoke via Zoom with Windham administration staff regarding his life story, starting as a young man in Cambodia and his adventure to the United States. And if I remember, Ambassador Siv, you also spoke at our Career Technical and Education Conference in San Antonio as well, and it was a great hit. Thank you. In April of 2022, Windham celebrated Second Chance Month. This month was dedicated to offering second chances to those individuals who have bettered themselves and re-entered our communities from incarceration. Former Windham students were interviewed live via Zoom, and interviews were included. We included interviews regarding individual updates, reflection on their time while incarcerated at the Windham School District. There were courses that they attended while incarcerated, and how it has benefited them in their lives today. Spreading awareness is stronger through partnerships, and Windham staff recognize this collaborative benefit. To support this priority, multiple district staff, such as Superintendent Hartman, are a part of organizations that recognize diverse leaders in education, such as the Texas Alliance of Black School Educators, TABSE, the Texas Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents, and the Texas Council of Women School Executives. Jerry Brown, Windham School District Transition Services Specialist, will be presenting on the Family Literacy Program at the upcoming TABSE meeting to spread program awareness. And finally, the Windham Diversity Mission Statement reads, One of the best opportunities for the Windham School District to demonstrate its commitment to inclusion and diversity is to recognize the achievements and contributions of the many diverse groups by celebrating the unique cultures, traditions, struggles, inventions, and achievements of others. We can gain a greater appreciation for the contributions made by individuals and groups from diverse backgrounds. Through the incorporation of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee and calendar, themes with diverse differences and contributions can be recognized and celebrated. I commend the Windham staff for their participation in spreading diversity and look forward to future celebrations. This concludes my report. I now pause for questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cotton. Are there any questions from the board? And I would just like to say, and I've talked to Ms. Hartman about this, is that something perhaps for you to consider in the future are more targeted lessons? For example, we have a large number of correctional officers from Nigeria, and I think it might be helpful to have some lessons about the country of Nigeria, its culture, and a lot of these officers are native speakers from Nigeria, so maybe learning a couple of words from there as well would be helpful. Just pass that along.
Would there be a spot to teach and celebrate Texas history?
Yes, that is part of diversity.
Is it a part of it?
Yes, sir.
I didn't see it on the...
So our campuses monthly report to us some of their themes and cultures and activities regarding their celebration for the diversity for that month. I often get reports back that we're celebrating Texas history, Texas culture. I have a lot of that. I receive a lot of that. So yes, we are celebrating it. While now currently there is not a federal theme for that or a national theme for that, it is a state recognition that we do participate in on our campuses.
This is Texas, so I would like to celebrate the history of Texas.
Good point, Pastor Miles. Well taken.
I wanted to understand, how did you come up with second chances being included in diversity? I guess because when I think of diversity, I think of different groups, different countries, African American, Hispanic, Asian, and that sort of thing. So I'm just trying to figure out how did you include second chances as diversity?
Okay.
I'm just wondering.
No, it's a great question, and I concur. So diversity is certainly inclusive of Black History Month, Women's History Month, Native American Heritage Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, Asian American Pacific Islander Month. That is diversity. But diversity is so much more. It is so much more broad. So we also include recognizing as many students that we can to help them appreciate diversity, but at the same time recognizing some of the backgrounds and some of the situations that they're in as well. So we try to include as much as possible outside of the national themes to include something that impacts Windham directly. We also added literacy, health literacy awareness month as well, because we realized that a lot of employees, a lot of staff members, and also a lot of students are dealing with some mental anguish as well. So we recognize that that is a part of diversity. And Ms. Harbin, you want to add anything to that? Feel free. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great question.
Mr. Cotton, we really appreciate your presentation, and it's great to hear what we already knew, which is that there is a tremendous emphasis on DEI within the Windham community. So we really appreciate it. Just one follow-up question, and I should know the answer to this, and I'm embarrassed that I haven't checked myself. Is the mission statement for DEI, is that available through the Windham School District website?
It may not be on the website. It should be, but I know it's posted everywhere on our campuses. It's posted in our administrative building departments. But if it's on the website, that may be a social media question.
Sure. It will be on the website. As Danielle mentioned, we're going through a website renovation. There were some content additions we made to our website that, due to some glitches with the provider, disappeared one day. So it will be there soon.
That's great. I really appreciate everything you're doing, and I think that would be a helpful addition to the website. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much. Our next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding revision of Windham Board Policy 02.00, Windham Board of Trustees Responsibilities. Windham School District General Counsel Eric Brown will be presenting today. Mr. Brown, if you are ready, you may begin.
Chairman O'Daniel, members, Superintendent Hartman.
You will find the proposed revision to Board Policy 200 at tab G of your binders. The revisions update the responsibilities of the board to add the approval of district teaching permits and approval of the names of Windham campuses. Additionally, the revisions update the listed board policies to reflect changes to policy titles. Other revisions improve organization, clarity, and conciseness. I'll pause now for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Are there any questions? Hearing none, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that Windham School District Board of Trustees approve the revision of Windham Board Policy 02.00, Windham Board of Trustees responsibility as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made. It has been seconded by Ms. Perryman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Our next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding revision of Windham Board Policy 07.56, prohibited employee relationships. Mr. Brown, if you are ready, proceed.
Yes, sir. At tab H, you will see the proposed revision to Board Policy 756. The revision combines Board Policy 756, Employee Offender Relationships, and Board Policy 715, Sexual Misconduct with Offenders, to create Board Policy 756, Prohibited Employee Relationships. The new policy removes classroom management provisions to be included in a more appropriate directive. The revisions add a clause relating to the requirement to report to the State Board of Educator Certification any incidents of sexual or romantic behavior between an educator and student. Other revisions update Windham terminology and improve organization, clarity, and conciseness. I'll pause now for questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Hearing none, thank you again. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Windham School District Board of Trustees approve the revision of Windham Board Policy 07.56, prohibited employee relationships as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second? A motion has been made. It has been seconded by Dr. Burrow. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Our next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding revision of Windham Board Policy 07.57, District Teaching Permit, Career, and Technical Education. Mr. Brown, continue.
You will find the proposed revision to Board Policy 757 at tab I. Currently, the policy authorizes the district to issue career and technical education permits. The proposed revision authorizes the district to issue academic teaching permits to eligible qualified persons in a similar process. I'll pause now for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Are there any questions? Hearing none, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Windham School District Board of Trustees approve the revision of Windham Board Policy 07.57, District Teaching Permit, Career and Technical Education as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Pastor Miles. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Our next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding repeal of Windham Board Policy 07.15, Sexual Misconduct with Offenders. Mr. Brown, please proceed.
Thank you. As discussed previously, the entirety of this policy was combined with Board Policy 756 to create revised Board Policy 756, Prohibited Employee Relationships. Accordingly, we propose that Board Policy 715 be repealed.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Are there any questions? Hearing none, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Windham School District Board of Trustees approve the repeal of Windham Board Policy 07.15, Sexual Misconduct with Offenders, as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Mr. De Ayala. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Brown.
Chairman and members.
And I would like to thank all of you for coming here today and remind you the next meeting of the Windham School District Board of Trustees will be Friday, February 10th, 2023 in San Antonio, Texas. There being no further business, the 332nd meeting of the Windham School District Board of Trustees is now adjourned. It is 8:49.
The meeting of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice Business and Financial Operations Committee is called to order in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, the Open Meetings Act. A quorum of the committee is present, and the meeting is now declared opened. It is 9:02 a.m. First item of business is the approval of minutes. Are there any amendments or objections to the proposed minutes as presented? Going once, going twice. Hearing none, the minutes as presented on the agenda will stand approved. The next item on the agenda is the Manufacturing, Agribusiness, and Logistics Division Report. Request for a natural gas pipeline easement at the Roach Unit, Childers County, Texas. Mr. Billy Hirsch will be presenting today. Mr. Hirsch, if you're ready, please begin.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Chairman O'Daniel, Mr. Collier, members. Today we have one item on the agenda. During the regular session of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice meeting, we will recommend the board approve this item. Palo Duro Texas Gathering LP is requesting an easement for a 3-inch natural gas line at the Roach Unit in Childers County, Childers, Texas, to include an area consisting of 1.49 acres of land, that being 1,619.29 feet long, which is 98.14 rods by 40 feet wide, to transport natural gas that will benefit the unit only. The request consists of a temporary workspace of approximately 0.734 acres for use during the pipeline construction and installation. If you direct your attention to the screen, you can see the Roach Unit there on the right-hand side, the actual unit. All the yellow is the entire property. The natural gas line is there in red that runs at kind of a little diagonal from north to south. That'll actually feed into a corridor there that's already been established for the natural gas pipeline. Palo Duro Texas Gathering LP has agreed to pay no compensation for this for 30 years. I would like to point out that the easement includes language requiring indemnification of grantee's responsibility, the most favored nation clause, and general liability insurance coverage for a minimum of $3 million. The reason for no compensation is it actually provides natural gas to our unit, and we don't normally charge folks to do that.
Did you hear me whisper that, or did you?
I figured it was coming.
Turn down this mic.
Well, I was hoping that my last committee meeting that you would generate some revenue for us. You've done a great job, since I've been chairing this committee. And correct, that's a dedicated line for us. It's our use. It benefits us.
Yes, sir.
And anything else on your to-dos today?
No, sir, that's it. One time. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a report on the status of board-approved projects from Facility Division Director Ron Hudson. Mr. Hudson, please join us at the podium, and if you are ready, please begin.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Chairman O'Daniel, Mr. Collier, members. I'd like to provide an update on the status of board-approved projects. Item number 1 is the Coalfield Unit Roofing Project. This project is currently 95% complete and remains in the final stages of construction. 2 picket roofs and some metal detail work are all that remain before pre-final inspection. Item number 2 is the Michael Unit Roofing Project. This project is 26% complete. As reported at the last board meeting, TBCJ is terminating this contract. We are still working through this process. Item number 3 is the Crane Unit Roofing Project to replace the roof at the reception satellite. This project is currently 65% complete. Relocation of the data communication lines are being finalized, so roof construction can continue. Item number 4 is the Mulford Unit Roofing Project. This project is currently 40% complete. Contractor is currently working on H1. which is the Western Region Medical Facility there on the Mumford unit. Item number 5 is the Estelle Unit Textile Mill Roof Project. This project is currently 7% complete. Roofing material has been delivered for construction to begin. Item number 6 is the Jester 3 Unit Roofing Project. This project is currently 12% complete. Contractor has ordered the roofing material, in which some of the material has begun to arrive. Item number 7 is the Ramsey Unit Roofing Project. This project is currently 6% complete. Contractor has ordered the roof material, in which some of the material again has begun to arrive. Item number 8 is the Wind Unit Project to replace the primary electrical distribution system. This project is currently 99% complete. Pre-final punch list has one item remaining, which is a transformer that will either be repaired or replaced. There is a scheduled outing for this month, and they will determine that at that time. Item number 9 is the Clements Unit Project to replace the structural floor and plumbing system for B Building C, wings C and D. This project is currently 99% complete. One punch list item remains to be completed, which is the fabricated steel floor grating. Once installed, a final inspection will be conducted. Item number 10 is the Coalfield Unit Project to install a new sludge dewatering press. This project is currently 80% complete. Dewatering sludge press has been installed along with underground piping. Item number 11 is the Memorial Unit Project to repair and replace building structures in the boiler room. This project is 98% complete. Final inspection and punch list items has been completed. Item number 12 is the Chase Field refurbished repair water towers 1 and 2 and ground storage tank. This project is currently 7% complete. Contractor is installing concrete rings and rebar for storage tanks. Item number 13 is the Ferguson Unit Project to construct a water well and transmission line. This project is currently 90% complete. Site grading and complete generator well pump commissioning and well disinfection is scheduled for this week. Item number 14 is the Wainwright Unit to design-only project to construct a wastewater treatment plant. This design-only project is currently 14% complete. Comments have been made on submittals and returned to the engineering firm. Item number 15 is the Wainwright Unit design-only project to construct a water treatment plant. This project is 12% with the first technical review scheduled to be delivered this month. Item number 16 is the Robertson project to add electronic water controls. A notice to proceed is pending. Item number 17 is the GIST Unit Project to replace locking systems for multiple locations. This project is currently 40% complete. Contractor is currently working in D building with only buildings E, F, and K remaining. Item number 18 is the Clements Unit Project to repair and replace the fire line in 12 building. This project is 98% complete. Final inspection is complete and closing documents are in progress. Item number 19 is the Michael Unit Project to repair and replace the fire line restrictive housing 12 building. This project is currently 17% complete. Contractor is installing main line piping in wings A, B, C, and D. Item number 20 is the Estelle Unit Project to replace and relocate steam line. This project is currently 45% complete. All piers, pier caps, and bollards are installed. Fabricated steel structure steel is currently being installed. Item 21 is the Telford Unit Project to replace hot water and steam piping. This project is currently 40% complete. Contractor is installing structural steel and preparing to install piping. Item number 22 is the Johnston Unit Project to install emergency power multiple locations. Project is at 1% complete, awaiting arrival of the equipment that is again scheduled to arrive in June of 2023. Item 23 is the Johnson Unit Project to install air conditioning systems in building B1, B2, B3, pods 1 through 9. Project is 10% complete. AC ductwork inside housing areas, concrete pads for AC units, and gas lines have all been completed. Contractor is now waiting on the delivery of the actual AC units. Item 24 is the GIST Unit to install air conditioning system building A. This project is currently 1% complete, awaiting on arrival of equipment. Item number 25 is the Ramsey Unit replaced Region 3 training buildings. This project is currently 5% complete. Contractor is working on surveying details to begin excavating. This concludes my project status updates. I stand by for any questions you may have.
So a number of these are rolling off here pretty soon.
Yes, sir. I would venture to say probably 3 or 4 of these should come off hopefully in February. Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Hudson, we talked about this Liquitech and the Michael unit roofs at the last board meeting. I'm just wondering, do we have any other contracts with this company, and where do we go? What do we do when we have a partially started project? Do we have a replacement contractor in line, or where do we go from here?
Well, we're still working through that progress now. We're still working with the surety company and Liquitech. Liquitech, this is the last of the actual contracts they do have with us, so they don't have any other roofing contracts with us now. We are working diligently to try to get those roofs replaced. So, yes, ma'am.
I know you are. Thank you.
On a number of these projects, you've got situations where you're waiting for materials, either roofing materials or equipment. Kind of from your perspective, how are we doing on the supply chain in terms of our contractors getting the materials they need to complete these jobs?
We did reach out to a couple of our roofing suppliers, and the supply chain on roofing material is getting a little better. Where it was probably 8 to 10 months getting material, now it's down to probably 3 or 4 months on roofing material. Now, AC units and generators, we're still 8 months, 10 months, sometimes a year out on some of that equipment still.
Understood.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Okay, Mr. Hudson, please proceed.
Okay. Today at the regular session, I will be presenting 5 projects. All 5 of these projects are to install monitor pulse fence detection systems. The first project for consideration is to install monitor pulse fence detection systems perimeter at the Clements unit. The work will consist of installing 6,487 linear feet of a monitored pulse fence to include the wires, controllers, and the associated power required to operate this system. 3 bids were received for this project in October 2022. If approved, the work will be performed by Sigma Surveillance out of Dallas, Texas. Total estimated program cost is $5,463,200. Construction duration is 84 days. This is a hub vendor. We do have a 2-year warranty on all hardware, on-site repairs, and preventative maintenance. Also within this contract, if something was to happen to the fence, there is a 4-hour response time. The vendor does have to respond to that unit to make the repairs. There are other states that are using the same type of fencing, and Texas is included in that. We do have the same type of pulse fencing at the Memorial Unit, the Conley Unit 12 building, the McConnell Unit 12 building, Pulaski Buildings 12 and 1819, and the Stiles Unit 12 building. The other states that also use this are New Mexico, Wisconsin, Indiana, Oklahoma, Georgia, Wyoming, and I could go on and on of numerous states. And they also use the same type of fencing at Guantanamo Bay. So this is a really good fence to be used. So at the Clements unit, they do all have all custody levels of offenders are housed on this unit. And the current population yesterday was 2,862 offenders on the Clements unit. I'll pause for any questions on this project.
Let me start out. So, our goals being to public safety and also being good stewards of tax dollars. Explain to me how this perimeter fencing accomplishes those things.
This is just going to add just another layer of security to the fence around the unit. It's just going to add that extra layer of protection. It is a non-lethal fence, but when you do touch it, it will put you back off of the fence. And as you go up higher off the fence, and it is 15 foot high, the fence is. So the higher you go, the more lethal it does get with a higher charge to it. But again, this just adds another layer of security to the fence.
Well, it reminds me of at the Huntsville unit where we had a brief escape that we'll be talking about later today. The inmate who escaped, he was able to twist the fence and wiggle under it. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that with this kind of fencing.
No, sir. You will not be able to do that.
How does this affect staffing?
That will allow us, on the Clements unit, there are 4 pickets on the Clements unit. There will still be 1 picket available at the back gate to allow traffic to come in and out. You will be able to unman a few of those pickets to put that staff back inside the building.
Chairman
Yeah,
Dale,
please.
if I could just mention, so you'll see many of these projects as we move forward, because we're essentially trying to electronically provide a fence solution versus the man towers that we've been used to for so many years. Many states have already been in that situation, and we've learned from that there's an effective way to do it. So this provides a level of security that is heightened. We'll also continue to monitor perimeter patrol with perimeter patrol vehicles, but overall in the agency, we can reduce our footprint by about 500 FTEs that will go back on shifts by doing it. So it helps our staffing issue, and really, if you do the math, it pays for itself in a few years.
Yes.
But if someone is really determined, I'm assuming they can get to the top of this fence and get over, since it's non-lethal.
It should knock them off.
It should knock them off that fence pretty quick.
Strong.
It'll knock them off, but they can get back up and still keep trying.
It'll keep knocking
Well,
them off.
like within, yeah, well, like within the central control, there's going to be a monitor in there. And around the perimeter of the fence, there's going to be different zones. So if somebody actually touches that fence and tries to get on it, that zone in that monitor is immediately going to be alerted. So staff will be able to respond to that area fairly quickly.
So even if they did attempt to get back on,
Yes.
our staff would have known that they're
Yes.
trying to get escaped, so
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can still catch them.
Yes, ma'am.
Because, we have some determined prisoners who really want to get out of here. So.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
So, two questions. First of all, pulse fence, monitored pulse fence detection. I'm just wondering what the pulse means. What is that pulse fence detection? Tell me what that.
Electric pulse.
It's electric
Yeah.
fence, and it's
I
ran
got
by a
the electric
controller that puts out a pulse. Like every second, it'll put a pulse out, and every second it's putting an electric current through that fence
Okay.
continuously.
So pulse, it's not steady. That's just telling us that's okay.
Yep.
In your in our studies and investigation of ways of the effectiveness of this type of fence, did we also learn how this fence can be? I mean, maybe I shouldn't ask that. Have we checked and know how this fence can be disabled? Is there any? I mean, I understand the natural disabled.
Well, I can tell you
feature
that
of getting
we're-
zapped, but
Yes, ma'am. I can tell you we've ensured that all these fences are going to be on emergency power. So they're going to be on our generator backup power. So if any of these were to lose power or any of that, all of these systems are going to be on emergency generator power. And continuously throughout the day, there is a pole within the picket that they walk around, like the different zones throughout the unit, and they're continuously testing that fence. And they have a log within the picket where every time they check that fence, they log it. So throughout the day, they're actually checking the zones throughout the day. And then it will also be hooked up to emergency power also.
There'll also be a continued mobile patrol. So the mobile patrol that we operate currently, we'll continue to do that even though we'll have this technology. And if, as Ron's indicating, if we have a power interruption issue, then we'll man the area so that we've got coverage until we get power back for some reason.
One more, just physically though, this is in addition to the current fencing.
Yes, sir.
Just so people understand.
Yes, sir.
Question at the top of the fence, the shock equivalent, what is it equivalent to? Would it be equivalent to a taser, something like that? As far as the shocking
who tests
ability?
that out? Maybe Patty
Yeah.
Miles.
I've been tasered.
We can go to
That's why
we
I'm
can go to Pulaski today, and I'm sure we can get some volunteers to test that out. So.
The staff member that tested it couldn't be here today.
That's a good one. So,
Mr. Hudson, anything else?
no, sir.
Thank you so much.
I got to go to the second one.
Oh, sorry. I thought we.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I got 4 more of these to do, sir.
Well, I thought we were doing them all at once. Sorry.
Well, we can.
No.
Okay.
No. Go.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. The second project for consideration is to install monitored pulse fencing detection systems perimeter at the Coalfield unit. Again, the work will consist of installing 6,583 linear feet of monitored pulse fence to include wires, controllers, associated power required to operate the systems. Total estimated program cost, $6,517,300. Again, there's a warranty on this system. Again, there's all custody levels at this unit. And again, this will be at the Coalfield unit. Number 3 for consideration will be add the same system at the Connolly unit. The work will consist of installing 5,924 linear feet of monitored pulse fencing to include the wires, controllers, and associated power required to operate the system. 2 bids were received. If approved, the work will be performed by Sigma Surveillance out of Dallas, Texas. Total estimated program cost is $5,550,800. Again, a 2-year warranty on this system, and all custody levels are also on the CALA unit. Next one for consideration is the Michael unit. Again, this work will consist of installing 5,655 linear feet. 2 bids were received. If approved, the work will be by Sigma Surveillance out of Dallas, Texas. Total estimated program cost is $5,343,300. Again, 2-year warranty. All custody levels are also on the Michael unit. The last one for consideration is the Telford unit. The work will consist of installing 5,915 linear feet of monitored fence to include wires, controllers, associated power. 2 bids were received for this project. If approved, the work will be performed by Sigma Surveillance out of Dallas, Texas. Total program cost, $5,565,500. Again, 2-year warranty. Population, 1,998, and all populations are on the Telford unit also. Again, I'll pause for any additional questions. If not, this concludes my presentation.
Just one quick question. The 2-year warranty, is that industry standard? Kind of best nations, are we getting the best deal on the warranty that Windham's offering to others?
Yes, I think this is a great warranty because this covers hardware, labor, maintenance, preventative maintenance, and this is for a 2 full year. Also within that, they will respond to the unit within 4 hours, like I had mentioned earlier, if we have any problems with the fence.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And what happens after the 2 years? Do we have to do something else?
Our plan is to put a service contract in place to ensure that we keep this vendor on site, so we're not having to take care of that ourselves, to ensure that we've got the experts out there taking care of these fences.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, sir. All right.
And Mr. Hirsch, Mr. Steffa, and the rest of your team, just thank you all for all the work that you do and dealing with me the past however long it's been. It's been a real treat. Thank you guys. So, there being no further business, the Texas Board of Criminal Justice Business and Financial Operations Committee is now adjourned. It is 9:24.
Texas Board of Criminal Justice is called to order in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, the Open Meetings Act. During this meeting, the board will be conducting business from the agenda posted in the Texas Register. Members of the board present for this meeting include Vice Chairman Darylyn Perriman, Secretary Pastor Larry Miles, members Mano de Ayala, Judge Faith Johnson, Judge Molly Francis, Eric Nichols, Ambassador Sishan Siv, and Dr. Rodney Burrow. A quorum of the board is present, and the meeting is now declared open. It is 9:25. Pastor Miles, will you open up our meeting with a word of prayer?
Yes, sir. Pray with me if you will. Father God, we come before you today. Lord, we thank you for your mercy that is new upon us this very morning, Lord. We thank you for your grace that is sufficient for us in each and every day that we live this life. Lord, as we celebrate this season of Emmanuel, God with us, Lord, we pray that your peace and your joy will rest upon our employees and their families, upon our inmates and their families, Lord. We ask that you guide us in this meeting today, give us wisdom and discernment. We pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Miles. As a courtesy to speakers and guests in the meeting, please turn electronic devices to the silent or vibrate mode. Thank you. I would like to recognize at this time the public officials and/or staff representatives with us today. Are there any with us here today? Seeing none, I still appreciate all of your support. The Texas Board of Criminal Justice is committed to providing an opportunity for public presentations on posted agenda topics, as well as for public comments on issues within its jurisdiction as provided in Board Rule 151.4. Persons interested in speaking at today's meeting were required to complete and submit a registration card at least 10 minutes prior to the meeting's posted start time. As no cards were received prior to the required deadline, the board will not hear public presentations on posted agenda topics today. So let's begin with recognitions. And of course, we have to start with a particularly big recognition. No dispersion meant there. I would like to start out by saying a few words about the Honorable Mano de Ayala. And who knew I would ever use the word honorable in this context? Governor Greg Abbott appointed Mano to the Texas Board of Criminal Justice in April of 2017. And for 5.5 years, my fellow board members and I have grown to rely upon his wisdom and expertise and value his friendship. Now, as it turns out, the governor appointed me to the board at the same time as Mano, which reminds me of a great comedy titled Twins, starring Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger, as we too were twins on the board. Obviously, Mano is the Danny DeVito twin, as you can tell by just looking at us. In all seriousness, Mano, we both grew up on this board together. We toured units together. We learned about the agency together. And even though you turned out better, no surprise, after all, I was counting on at least 6 months more together and hoping for 6 more years together. But the men and women residing in District 133 of the Texas House of Representatives thought otherwise, and they have spoken. It is time for Mano to serve the great state of Texas in another capacity. During his tenure with the Board of Criminal Justice, Mano has served on the Healthcare, Legal, and Rehabilitation and Reentry Programs Committees, as well as the Windham School District Board of Trustees, and chaired both the Community Corrections and Business and Financial Operations Committees. In every capacity in which he has served, he has made important contributions and had a positive impact that will continue long after his departure from this board. And his impact has by no means been limited to the department, its employees, and the individuals in the agency's custody or under its supervision. As chair of the Communities Corrections Committee, his support of and commitment to community supervision benefited local probation departments, their employees, and the probationers under their supervision. As chair of the Business and Financial Operations Committee, Mano oversaw and reinforced the agency's commitment to fiscal restraint, financial stewardship, and sound business practices. While doing so, Representative de Ayala has of course become well-versed with the TBCJ budget, as well as the agency's fiscal year 2024-25 legislative appropriations request, knowledge that I am sure will serve him well in his new representative capacity. And Mano, I am told very few freshmen are appointed to the House Appropriations Committee. But should you ever require assistance on any matter concerning the agency, particularly the TBCJ budget, I am confident Mr. Collier and Mr. Steffa will be happy to assist you. There's much more I could say about Mano. We have a board resolution that speaks in greater detail to his career and his many civic activities. But if I were to read the resolution in full, I could be accused of engaging in a filibuster, and I've been filibustering enough already. So let me conclude by saying this. Representative de Ayala. Okay. I think I speak for all of us, be they board members, agency staff, or others who have had the privilege of working closely with you for the past 5.5 years when I say we have enjoyed working with you and deeply appreciate your service on this board. As for me personally, I know TBCJ will always have a special place in your heart. And I want you to know that I am a better person for knowing you and serving with you. We will miss your advice and counsel, as well as the working relationships and the friendships that were formed and will continue. Thank you for all that you have done and all you will do for the citizens of the great state of Texas. And in the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, hasta la vista, baby.
Am I supposed to actually say something? No one told me about this agenda item, by the way, so this is catching me off guard. It has been one of the biggest honors of my life to serve on this board, but more so to have met some of the phenomenal board members that some are no longer here, and the folks that are here. It's just been an experience that has meant a lot to me. But I want to point out one thing. The folks that I meet that are working day to day in the agency, Windham, TBCJ, what an exceptional group of people. You make our jobs on the board much easier than they otherwise could be. I see folks, and the phrase I use or the analogy is iron sharpening iron. What was our Chairman Wainwright's comment? Never tread water, right? You guys live it out every day. The friendships that I've made from the folks in the units, the folks in senior staff and supervisory roles have been phenomenal. I didn't expect this to happen today, so I'm a little short on words, and that never happens to me. But other than to say, I appreciate you guys, the work you do for the state, the work you do to those folks who are guests in our facilities that want an improved life to help them improve their lives. Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead. Oh, we want to do photo. Well, I didn't know if other. Okay, we get the photo out. It's just me and Danny DeVito. Come on. All right, do any other board members, do they want to say anything? Or?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, well, fair enough. We'll reserve our tart remarks for in private. Okay.
For executive session.
For executive session, exactly so.
Got it.
We need to keep this clean. All right, move along. The next recognition will be presented by Office of Inspector General Chris Love. Mr. Love, as you come to the podium, I understand you would like to recognize OIG Commander Lance Coleman on his 40 years of service. Mr. Love, where's Mr. Coleman? It's kind of hard to recognize you, Mr. Coleman, way back there. Please join us at the podium. Mr. Love, if you are ready, please begin.
Mr. Chairman, members, Mr. Collier, it is an absolute honor to stand before you at this very moment in time and recognize Lance Coleman for 40 years of service as a peace officer in this great state of Texas. I've got something written down here. I'll try not to read it verbatim, but however, Commander Coleman began his career in May 2010 as an investigator assigned to United States Marshal Service Lone Star Fugitive Task Force, San Antonio Division, as a Special Deputy U.S. Marshal. In April 2013, Commander Coleman was instrumental in the development and implementation of the OIG Executive Protection Detail for TDCJ and for the board. I wanted to, and this came about after March 2013, after the death of Colorado Department of Corrections Tom Clements, who was murdered by an individual named Ebel, who was later killed in Texas by Texas law enforcement in Wise County, Texas. I want to thank you and the board, for allowing us to put this detail together, and you too, Mr. Collier. Commander Coleman promoted to Lieutenant Special Operations Division in September 2015, Captain SOD January 2019, and to his current position, Commander of SOD Special Operations Division for OIG in July 2021. Commander Coleman began his law enforcement career in 1979 as a police officer and later sergeant with the Westlake Hills Police Department. In June 1982, he entered the Texas Department of Public Safety All-Field Services Academy, graduating in October 1982 as a Texas Highway Patrol Trooper. During his career at DPS, Commander Coleman served on the then Governor William P. Clements Jr. Executive Protection Detail, and he advanced through all the Texas Highway Patrol Trooper ranks and was a senior corporal before promoting to sergeant at the DPS Training Academy in March 1999. While assigned to the Texas DPS Training Academy, he was a firearms training specialist and instructor. Additionally, while serving at the Training Academy, Sergeant Coleman led the development of simunition force-on-force training for DPS and received the Division Captain's Award for Excellence. In July 2003, Commander Coleman was appointed to Sergeant, Texas Ranger Division for the Department of Public Safety, Company D in San Antonio, where he served until his retirement in 2009 after 27 years of service to DPS and the state of Texas at that time. I want to just mention a few of the awards that my good friend, I'm not going to say it. I'll go ahead and say it. Sir Lancelot.
Oh, here we go. We're going to open it up now.
I just want to mention a few of the many awards that Lance has received. In 1986, Commander Coleman received the DPS Purple Heart Award, obviously as an employee with the Department of Public Safety, for in a line of duty shooting. Hate to even think about the time. We're here. 1993, Commander Coleman received the DPS Austin Highway Patrol District 6B Top Trooper Award. In 2011, Commander Coleman received an Outstanding Performance Award from the Western District of Texas with the United States Marshal Service for his investigative work in a capital murder investigation of Bexar County Sheriff Patrol Sergeant Kenny Van. And in 2012, Commander Coleman received the OIG Investigator of the Year Award. Thank you, my good friend.
Thank you, Mr. Love. And Sir Lancelot, would you like to say a few words?
I just thank the board for the support. Mr. Collier, your folks, I deal with your directors and deputy directors daily, and they make my job easy. Your board office, Jill Durst, everybody that's involved, your front office, Mr. Collier. I mean, it's a group effort. I'm a small part of the team, and I'm just fortunate to be here, and I look forward to many more years.
Well, congratulations, Commander Coleman, and we appreciate your dedication to this agency and all you do for us. And I believe there might be another member or two that might want to say a few words.
I just wanted to thank you, Lance, for not only your service to the state of Texas, but the way that you take care of us. I feel so safe in your hands, and I really, really want you to know that I appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am.
Brother Lance, just an observation, there's nobody better to have watching your six than Commander Lance Coleman. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman, if I could, I would just say, Lance, thank you personally. You professionalism, you're rock solid, but you're a good friend, you're a good man, and you do great for this agency and OIG, and thank you, and you represent it so well. But thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your interest in personal protection. I appreciate that more than you know, and I may not always act like it, but I promise you I greatly appreciate that, and I know my family appreciates it. So thank you for all you do.
Yes, sir.
I'd also like to say, first of all, that I agree with everything everyone has said at the table. We sure do appreciate all the driving Ms. Daisies you do for us when we're involved in board activities. Yeah, I know what you say out there. No,
I'm kidding.
But we appreciate that. You know, you and Mr. Lumpkin and a couple of others drive those very nice trucks, and good size, big guys, big trucks, and that's what you. But I have to tell you that I have never been able to look at you quite the same after we went to Angola and did our touring of Angola after waiting for about 3 hours in the Baton Rouge airport for our rent car, which very high commodities at that particular time. And after waiting all that time, we got what has to have been the bottom of the barrel Fred Flintstone mobiles that we drove around in, and seeing you and Mr. Lumpkin behind the wheel and all of our little feet pedaling underneath to get us from one place to the other. You did a great job then too, but quite a different look for you. And also, I want you and Mr. Lumpkin to keep an eye out in the mail, because there's a chance that Santa Claus could bring you a Fred Flintstone car.
Nice. We'll do that.
For Christmas. But really, Lance, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure if thank you for those remarks is quite the word, but I think we need to move along. Let's get a picture taken.
That's some exposure there. Yes, sir. Thank you.
The next recognition will be presented by TBCJ Executive Director Brian Collier. Mr. Collier, I understand you would like to recognize Training and Leader Development Division Director David Yebra on his 10 years of service. Mr. Yebra, please join us at the podium. Mr. Collier, if you are ready, you may begin.
Thank you, Chairman O'Daniel. This morning, I'd like to recognize David Yebra on attaining 10 years of service with the state of Texas. As many of you may remember, David joined our agency in 2019 after serving as the Director of Emergency Management with Sam Houston State University since 2013, and prior to that, joining the university in 2009. David joined TBCJ to be the very first director for the newly created Training and Leader Development Division. David has embraced that role well and worked diligently to seamlessly transition our training programs into one division. Late in 2020, we also moved correctional recruiting to the Training and Leader Development Division, and Mr. Yebra has led efforts in that area since that time. Mr. Yebra was no stranger to leading significant operations, as he had a 23-year distinguished military career prior to joining Sam Houston State University, retiring from the Army as a lieutenant colonel. He is a graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point. David has been a welcome addition to our leadership team and hit the ground running, and has been extremely energetic and has taken on many projects and done a lot of heavy lifting for us. We look forward to, with only 10 years, at least 20 to 25 more years of service with David in this agency. Please join me this morning, though, as we recognize David on attaining 10 years of straight service.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
Okay, don't try to run off that fast, Mr. Kimbrough. And I second what Mr. Collier said. As you know, I spend quite a bit of time visiting with you, and I appreciate your hard work too. But I think you're kind of selling him short just 25, 30 years. Oh, my goodness. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Collier, and congratulations to you, Mr. Yebra. We're looking forward to many, many more years, and please join Mr. Collier and I for a photo.
Yes, sir.
The next couple of recognitions will be presented by Facilities Division Director Ron Hudson. Mr. Hudson, please join us at the podium. If you are ready, you may begin.
All right, good morning. I'd like to introduce Damon Andrews first. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Damon Andrews, the first of two new Facilities Division Directors that I will be presenting this morning. Mr. Andrews has more than 18 years' experience in the criminal justice field, starting his career with the agency as a correctional officer. Damon has served as a parole officer and in a variety of positions within the correctional field, to include being a sergeant, lieutenant, captain, major, assistant warden, senior warden at Keegan's, Terrell, and the Ferguson units, and most recently, warden for Staffing Command for CID. Damon holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Sociology with a minor in Criminology from the University of Houston and a Master's of Science degree in Criminal Justice Leadership and Management from Sam Houston State University. Mr. Andrews brings a wide range of knowledge, strong operational experience, and leadership to his new position, and will serve the agency and division well. I introduce you, Mr. Damon Andrews.
Mr. Chairman, board members, Mr. Collier, I just want to thank y'all for giving me this opportunity, and I look forward to serving y'all as best as I can going forward from here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Mr. Andrews, congratulations on your promotion, and let's take a photo. Continue.
Good morning again. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Paul Glass, the second of the new Facilities Deputy Division Directors. Mr. Glass has more than 35 years' experience in the criminal justice field, starting his career with the agency as a correctional officer in 1994. Paul has served in a variety of positions with the agency throughout the Facilities Division, serving as a carpentry supervisor, project superintendent, program administrator, asbestos abatement, to include a multitude of supervisor maintenance positions, with his most recent being the director of maintenance operations within facilities. Paul was the facilities coordinator for the first established command center within the division during Hurricane Rita in 2005. He has continued to be the facilities command center coordinator during the most catastrophic events for the last 17 years of his career with the agency. This includes Hurricane Ike in 2008, where an enormous portion of TBCJ units were without power for multiple days. In 2015, the Brazos River flood, where many of our units in the southern region were evacuated and repopulated. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey devastated and flooded southeast Texas, where the agency had to evacuate many of the units again. And in 2021, Winter Storm Uri was the first winter storm of this disastrous kind in the state of Texas, in which TDCJ had many units on emergency power for several days after the electrical service failed throughout the state of Texas. Mr. Glass played an important role in getting those units back operational in a timely manner. You know, there's a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes and Paul was right there the whole time at all of those events. And without Paul's leadership, without his knowledge and experience in facilities, you know, the agency is very proud to have him, and I'm honored to have you as one of my deputy division directors. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You want to say a few words, Mr.
Sure.
Glass?
Thank you, Chairman, board members, Mr. Collier, for the opportunity, Mr. Hudson. I've had a great career. I enjoy what I do every day, and I really appreciate the opportunity. And moving forward, I'll go forward and do the best job I can to make sure we move forward in the agency.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hudson. Congratulations, Mr. Glass, and let's get a picture. The Texas Board of Criminal Justice recognizes TDCJ employees who have dedicated 25, 30, 35, 40, and 45 years of service to the state of Texas. These individuals represent the strong commitment of this agency's staff system-wide. I, along with my fellow board members and Executive Director Brian Collier, express our deepest gratitude for their continued service. During the months of November and December 2022, 44 employees attained 25 years of service. 40 employees attained 30 years of service, 14 employees attained 35 years of service, and 6 employees attained 40 years of service. Today, I would like to individually recognize the employees that have attained over 40 years for their dedication and service, starting with Raimundo Guerrero, or as his colleagues call him, Ray, began his law enforcement career with the Texas Department of Public Safety, DPS, in May of 1981. During his career with DPS, he achieved his Master Peace Officers and Instructor Proficiency licenses. As a Texas State Trooper, he was assigned to the Driver's License Service and the Texas Highway Patrol Service. During this time, he was detached to the Criminal Law Enforcement Division, CLE, until he received a promotion to the Criminal Investigations Division. While serving in the Criminal Investigations Division, he was a narcotics investigator assigned to the McAllen High Intensity Drug Area, HIDTA Task Force. Investigator Guerrero also served in the DPS Criminal Intelligence Service. Investigator Guerrero retired from DPS in August 2008. The call to service returned to Investigator Guerrero, and he started his employment with TDCJ OIG in August 2010. Upon his employment with OIG, Ray was assigned to the Special Operations Division, SOD, where he is deputized federally as a Special Deputy United States Marshal. He is assigned to the Gulf Coast Violent Offender Fugitive Task Force, GCVOFTF, with the U.S. Marshal Service. Ray has worked from both the McAllen and Brownsville U.S. Marshal's offices, where he specializes in fugitive apprehensions, including parole absconders, OIG fugitives, and violent offenders. Next, Officer Jeff Johnson, Jr. began his career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice at the Huntsville Unit in November 1972. Officer Johnson took a brief hiatus from the agency in 1975 before rehiring to the agency at the Huntsville Unit in January 1986. In June 2004, Officer Johnson retired from the agency, only to return to service 2 short months later. Known for being a dedicated, hard-working employee, Officer Johnson ensures the safety and security of the unit by controlling and monitoring the back gate entrance. With his wealth of knowledge, he has trained and mentored numerous officers throughout the years. The Huntsville unit and its staff proudly recognize this outstanding employee for all he has done and continues to do for this agency. Officer Johnson has 5 children, 2 sons and 3 daughters, and 10 grandchildren. He is a Christian man that enjoys going to church and spending time with his church family as well as his own family. He considers his time with his children, grandchildren, and his precious mother invaluable. When he is not with family and friends, he's out feeding and checking on his cows. Officer Alice Connor began her service to the state of Texas in May 1982 at Mejia State School. Several years later, in April 1995, she switched state agencies and became a correctional officer at the Pallage Unit. Over the next 19 years, Officer Connor became a mentor to her fellow co-workers, offering support and advice with a positive attitude. In October 2014, Officer Connor briefly retired from the Pallage Unit before her return in March of 2015. Throughout her time with the agency, Officer Connor has proven to be an enormous asset to the Pallage Unit and her co-workers. Her dependability and dedication to her job makes her one of the unit's best mentors. Officer Connor states she loves this job because of the people she works with every day, whom she considers family. Officer Connor enjoys spending time with her family, including her 2 sons and 11 grandchildren. After seeing how proud their mother was of her career and seeing the impact you can make on others, one of her sons became a trooper for the Texas Department of Public Safety. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice has been proud to have Officer Connor as an employee for the past 40-plus years and looks forward to seeing the impact that she continues to make on incoming officers. Officer Bobby Ennis began his career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice 40 years ago as a correctional officer at the Ellis Unit in Huntsville, Texas. Officer Ennis worked as a correctional officer in administrative segregation and death row. He promoted to Sergeant of Correctional Officers in 1983 while overseeing a multitude of areas on and off unit. Sergeant Ennis retired from the agency in August of 2005 and returned the same year as a correctional officer at the Byrd Unit. Officer Ennis is a valuable asset for the agency for many reasons, but his respect for others is what really stands out. His work ethic, demeanor, attitude, and his professional courage make him an effective employee. Officer Ennis mentors newly received employees to provide a positive environment and ensure the employees and the agency receives optimum benefit. Officer Ennis enjoys spending his free time with his grandkids, traveling with his wife, and has a special interest in attending local rodeos. Ron A. Petrowski has served the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for the past 40 years. Mr. Petrowski began his career in 1981 as a correctional officer at the Darrington, now Memorial Unit in Rocheron, Texas. He continued to serve the agency as an administrative assistant, serving as one of the first faces a newly received inmate would engage with at the Goree, Byrd, and Holiday units up until his retirement in 2008. In 2010, Mr. Petrowski returned to state service with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice as an administrative assistant within the Classification and Records Department, working under the Release Processing Section. For 4 short years, Mr. Petrowski returned to the world of new arrivals, working as an intake clerk at the Holiday Unit in Classification and Records. Since 2014 to present, Mr. Petrowski has been an invaluable asset within the Field Services Coordination Section and has recently transitioned to the Reentry and Integration Division. Ron Petrowski is a pillar of goodwill, full of friendly advice, and according to co-workers, the best full-circle intake to release stand-up comedian in the office. I wonder what that means. Hopefully it does not involve elephant toothpaste. I would like to add that the names of these employees will be submitted for inclusion in the official minutes of this board meeting. The Texas Board of Criminal Justice congratulates each of these employees and thanks you for your unwavering loyalty and dedication to the citizens of the great state of Texas. As a symbol of our appreciation, each of you will receive a board certificate along with a personal letter of gratitude. The next agenda topic covers consent items. Are there any amendments, objections, or abstentions to the proposed consent items? Hearing none, the consent items posted for this meeting's agenda will stand approved. The next item on the agenda will be a report from the TBCJ Executive Director. Mr. Collier, I understand you have 3 topics for us today. If you are ready, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman O'Daniel. I'd first like to update you on correctional officer staffing. We continue to make progress in correctional officer recruiting and retention. We have now had 8 consecutive months of hires outpacing losses and have reduced our vacancies by just under 1,500 since April. Our warden's direct hire and our mobile correctional officer initiatives are continuing to gain momentum. We supported 134 hiring events over the last 2 months and are focused on maintaining a strong push for hiring as we enter 2023. On November the 14th, we implemented a new applicant tracking system, which will help us process applications in an electronic format, increasing our efficiency in the applicant process. Early in 2023, we'll initiate a survey process to provide quick yet effective surveys to correctional officers at regular intervals to provide us with feedback on issues that impact retention. We are also reshaping the role of the shift lieutenant and building a new lieutenant leadership program to better equip them with the tools they'll need to be more focused on staff retention. Lastly, our new Career Center is already paying dividends as our new hub for recruiting and retention efforts, and we're excited as we enter the new year with our new Career Center. I'll continue to update you on our progress related to correctional officer staffing, and it will continue to be our agency's #1 operational priority. I also want to speak briefly about the upcoming 88th legislative session, and I look forward to working with Representative De Ayala at that time. But we are, as an agency, preparing for the 88th legislative session, which will begin on Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. As you're all aware, our legislative appropriation request was submitted earlier this year, and we stand ready to work closely with members and committees on issues that involve the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. I will keep you updated throughout the session on our activities throughout the 88th legislative session. Lastly, Chairman, a holiday message. As we approach the Christmas season, I'd like to wish each of you and all the employees of our agency a Merry Christmas. This year, we had significant challenges in this agency. The Lopez escape and the senseless murders of the 5 members of the Collins family have changed each of us and this agency forever. I ask that your prayers be with the Collins family during this time in the holiday season. The message that Christmas brings helps us to give hope as we enter this next year. Please keep our staff and their families in your thoughts and prayers this holiday season, and remember that as many of us may have time with family and friends this holiday season, that there are thousands of men and women who will be hard at work regardless of where we are. Thank you to each of you for your support as our board, and thank you for your assistance to the agency over the past year. I wish each of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Collier. Any questions or comments from the board? The next item on the agenda is the chairman's report. It is fitting that we close out our year in Huntsville, the birthplace of this agency. The history of this city and agency are intertwined. Just as Huntsville has grown and changed, so has the agency. In 1848, when the legislature created a penitentiary oversight board, the focus at that time was solely on punishment through confinement. Today, the state's criminal justice system has evolved to include parole, community supervision, and the responsibility for supervising more than 124,000 incarcerated individuals. The focus has shifted to rehabilitation with diversion programs and programs to help men and women reintegrate into society through education, treatment, and faith-based values training. While the board gets to play a role in setting the trajectory of the agency, it is the staff's devotion to fulfilling the agency's mission which has led to its success. This morning, I would like to take a few minutes and recognize some of those employees from the Huntsville area who are making a difference in the criminal justice system. We will start with Cherie Brooks, who started her TDCJ career at the Ferguson unit in June 2003. In July 2014, she transferred to the Huntsville unit, where she worked on shift until March 2021, when she was promoted to her current assignment, Field Training Officer. The success of the Huntsville Unit FTO onboard program is due largely in part to Officer Brooks. She has an excellent attitude and a driven determination, which perfectly suits her as the first point of contact for new employees. In her role as the training officer, she assists the agency with staff recruitment and retention by facilitating hiring seminars for the Huntsville unit and assisting with off-unit job fairs. In her free time, Officer Brooks enjoys spending time with her son, Shamar, as well as her parents, a twin sister, and 2 brothers. She also enjoys going on trail rides on her favorite horse, Cap, in the East Texas piney woods with friends. And Officer Brooks, if you're here today, if you can come on up and we can get a picture. Next, Officer Wade Powell is one of our employees who exemplifies the agency's core values on a daily basis. Whether it's consistently performing his job duties to the best of his ability or displaying leadership qualities by assisting co-workers to ensure the job is completed, Officer Powell always goes the extra mile. He is always ready for a new challenge or to learn a new role, and he is the first to volunteer his help for anyone in need. On October 17th of this year, while conducting security rounds at the Gibb Lewis unit, Officer Powell came to a cell with its window covered up. Further inspection revealed an unresponsive inmate inside the cell with a ligature around his neck. Officer Powell immediately initiated the incident command system. Upon entering the cell, Officer Powell removed the ligature from the inmate's neck and began performing chest compressions on him. Officer Powell worked feverishly to revive the inmate with the CPR until the inmate took a deep breath. Because Officer Powell took quick action, the inmate has made a full recovery. Powell has always worked at the Gibb Lewis unit. His career began in July 2017, but he left for a short time in January 2018. He returned in February 2019, much to the delight of his co-workers. Officer Powell has been married to his wife, Sunday, for 3 years. They have twin 4-year-old boys named Levi and Lucas, and he also has a stepdaughter named Olivia. When he's not at the Gibb Lewis unit, Officer Powell enjoys hunting and fishing with his family near Lake Sam Rayborn, or watching, well, really everybody's favorite football team, the Dallas Cowboys. And Officer Powell, if you're here, come on up for a picture. James Simpson has put in over 40 years of service with the agency. In fact, his career began at the same time as his honeymoon with his wife, Eileen, in 1981. He jokingly says it was spent at the academy. That must have been some honeymoon. Officer Simpson started at the wind farm and promoted his way through the ranks to sergeant in 1983, lieutenant in 1984, and captain in 1989. He retired in 2008, but made the decision to return just 11 months later because his wife had started working in the metal fabrication department at the Cofield unit. He stayed at Cofield for 9 years and then transferred to the wind unit because his wife was now the accountant in the mattress factory. Officer Simpson is very enthusiastic when coaching and mentoring new employees. He effectively communicates expectations, encouraging his coworkers to challenge conventional correctional practices. Bill Stevens, former CID director, states, "I have known Jim Simpson, aka Simpy," there's got to be a story there, "for my entire career with the Texas prison system. Him, who retired Regional Director Randy Treon, and I started only months apart in 1981 at the Wind Unit. Aside from his allegiance to the Chicago Bears, he has always demonstrated good judgment." Well, it's hard to argue with these comments. All right. Jim has been a committed and effective leader in this agency for over 40 years, and no matter what role he had, he stood above the rest. He is well deserving of this recognition, and I am honored to be his friend. Almost all of Officer Simpson's family is connected to TDCJ in some way. Besides his wife, his mother also worked at Cofield for many years, and his daughters Lori and Lisa have had careers with the agency too. Away from the Wind Unit, Officer Simpson enjoys spending time on his 3 acres of land in Crabs Prairie in Walker County or golfing at the Sam Houston State Course in Huntsville. He also spends time barbecuing and has won a wall full of awards at the different cook-offs held at the TDCJ units over the years, and we will be bringing those back post-COVID. So I'm looking forward to trying some of your brisket, Officer Simpson. So I hope you're here, and let's get a photo. With over 18 years of experience within the agency, Mylone White is the current field training officer for the Wind Unit in Huntsville. She does a phenomenal job of onboarding the newest correctional staff. She is fully engaged with the training and development of new officers. She is directly involved in cultivating an overall positive learning environment and experience. Officer White understands the importance of being available for her trainees, so she often modifies her schedule to participate in their training with them on whatever shift or assignment they have that day. Her efforts are instrumental in building the new staff's confidence, which also helps in retaining them. She is also engaged in the Wind Unit's preventative maintenance program and is quick to offer her assistance in other areas of the facility to help staffing needs. She is an asset to the agency because of her excellent rapport with her peers and the unit's administration, as well as a positive working relationship with other departments. Officer White has been married for 4 years to her husband, Horatio. They have 2 daughters, Brianna and Aubrey, as well as a 2-year-old granddaughter named Yara. She spends a lot of time shuttling Aubrey to volleyball games because she plays for the Huntsville Hornets and on a club team. She says her family is the most important thing to her outside of working for TDCJ. And if Officer White is here, let's bring her up for a photo. A.C. Wortham Jr. is one of the Polunsky unit's first lines of defense as the primary search officer at the unit's entry point. Due to his knowledge of security and the necessary search equipment, Officer Wortham is essential in stopping the introduction of contraband to the facility. In one such instance, he was able to identify hollowed-out soda cans, successfully thwarting the introduction of methamphetamines and cell phone components onto the unit. His versatile experience allows him to work in numerous positions. He is dependable and able to adapt to any situation. Officer Wortham always conducts himself in a professional manner. As a mentor to other staff at the Polunsky unit, he leads the way for others to follow in his footsteps. He hopes that he's making a lasting impression on his coworkers. Officer Wortham has spent his entire career at the Polunsky unit. His employment began in 1993 when he helped open the Terrell unit, which was later renamed the Polunsky unit. When he is not at the prison, he enjoys spending time with his wife of 39 years, Evelyn, and his numerous nieces and nephews. He also gets great pleasure riding his horse Rebel that he's had for 18 years. His other favorite pastimes are fishing, hunting, and hiking, and going to Lake Livingston State Park. And finally, he loves his 2004 Dodge Ram pickup truck, which he says has great sentimental value to him. Well, we're glad to hear about the Dodge pickup truck, Officer Wortham. So thank you, and come on up.
That's a good looking picture up there, too.
Melissa Kaiser has worked for TBCJ for the last 23 years and has worked her way up from a Clerk 1 to her current role as a Program Supervisor 3 in the Huntsville Placement and Release Unit. She has held that position since July 2020. Melissa demonstrates her dedication to the agency every day. She is the subject matter expert on multiple programs within the agency and is always willing to help with any special projects she is assigned. She is also adept at managing multiple employees directly. As an example, between June 2021 and February 2022, the assistant director position in her unit was vacant and she temporarily filled in, producing high-quality work and showing her skill as a leader. When she is not at work, Melissa enjoys going shopping with her daughter, Carly. She also enjoys watching Pirates of the Caribbean movies with her husband, Corey, and her son, CJ. Her other joys are her 4 dogs, a German Shepherd named Layla, a chocolate Labrador named Molly, a Beagle named Barlow, and a Chihuahua named Roxy. Now, that's quite the mix there. Melissa's favorite sports teams are the Houston Texans and the 2022 World Series champion Houston Astros. So if you could come up and join us, please. The next 2 officers I'm going to speak about, I'd like them to actually come up to the podium today. They are Officer Anthony Conrath from the Ellis Unit and Officer Brandon Mata. If you 2 could come up. The work that the agency's correctional staff does daily can be difficult and sometimes dangerous. The men and women in gray lean into the training and grit to get them through those tough situations. I would like to take a moment and recognize 3 officers for their valor. On January 25th, 2021, Officer Brandon Mata noticed an inmate who was acting suspiciously while walking away from the dining hall. Officer Mata ordered the inmate to stop so that he could conduct a pat search. The inmate refused and became argumentative. Other officers, including Anthony Conrath and Boyd Patrick, backed up Mata as a show of force. A supervisor was called for at the location. The inmate remained argumentative when the sergeant told the inmate he would be placed in pre-hearing detention because of his actions. This is when the inmate charged at the officers and began to attack them. The 3 officers, despite suffering significant wounds, were able to quickly restrain the dangerous individual. It was then discovered that he had 3 weapons: a 9-inch metal bar with a handle sharpened to a point that was strapped to his knee, a green plastic spoon with a handle and sharpened to a point that fell out of his jacket pocket, and an 8-inch metal rod that was sharpened to a point and strapped to his wrist. It was because of the quick action of these correctional officers that the inmate wasn't able to hurt anyone else that day. Officers Conrath, Mata, and Patrick were all nominated by Warden Kelly Strong for the Patch of Valor for exhibiting exceptional courage and swiftness of action in the face of danger. Officers Conrath and Mata were also awarded the Correctional Officer Medal of Honor Award in April 2022. Anthony Conrath is now a Correctional Officer 5 and continues working at the Ellis Unit. Correctional Officer 4 Brandon Mata began a new assignment at the Estelle Unit on November 1st, 2022. Correctional Officer V. Boyd Patrick left the agency's employment on July 12th, 2022. Officers Conrath and Mata are here today. Let's take a moment and show them our appreciation. And if y'all would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Coyer, members of the board. This is all an incredible honor. I think I speak for myself and my colleagues whenever we say that we're deeply honored and humbled by this award. I see this award not just as a recognition of myself, but of the thousands of brave men and women who serve in our state's correctional institutions, and they are the unsung heroes, and I would just like to thank them. It was a difficult day that day, but luckily because of the treatment and the support that I received from my colleagues, Warren Strong and Mr. Coyer, Mr. Lumpkin, I'm proud to say that I'm still with the agency, and I'm proud to say that I still serve as a correctional officer for the state of Texas. Thank you.
You want to just go get a picture? And why don't we have Mr. Lumpkin? And I see Warden Strong. Come on, Warden. Come on up. I'm not going to let you hide back there. The last person I want to honor today is not even a employee of the agency, actually. It is Rebecca Plant. Will you please come up to the podium? I have the pleasure today of recognizing a special young lady who I had the pleasure of meeting recently. It was because of her quick actions that prevented an inmate from fleeing this city after an escape. On September 16th, 2022, at approximately 3 p.m., staff at the Huntsville unit became aware of a missing inmate named Matthew Garza, who had just been transported to the unit by the Central Region Transportation Bus. Officers immediately began searching throughout the unit and initiated the Incident Command Center notification. About 30 minutes later, Rebecca Plant, a student at Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, was driving along 13th Street near the outer wall of the Huntsville unit when she noticed inmate Garza drop from the wall to the street and run to a ditch. She began following him in her car. She saw Garza run towards the Criminal Justice Building on the university campus. Ms. Plant then called David Stacks at the Texas Prison Museum to tell him what she was seeing and that she was following the inmate in her car. She then called 911. Ms. Plant continued watching Garza as he tried to break into several cars parked behind the university library, but without success. At about 3:45 p.m., Garza was seen talking to a student and got into the passenger side of their car. The car began driving up Bowers Boulevard, and Miss Plant told the 911 dispatcher that it was making a right-hand turn onto Montgomery Road. This is when Lieutenant Tim Carroll with the Sam Houston State Police Department conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle in the parking lot of the Second Baptist Church. He took inmate Garza into custody without incident. Miss Plant is to be commended for her quick thinking and keen observations, which helped in apprehending the escaped inmate and returning him to TBCJ custody quickly and without harm to anyone. Rebecca, I understand you are an education major, but I would highly encourage you to think about giving criminal justice a try. Let's give her a round of applause. And would you like to say a few words?
There we go. I am still in college, so I'm still learning how to write, so it's going to be short and sweet. I would like to begin with a huge thank you to David Stacks for believing in me and being there for me when I needed it most, and for giving me the knowledge I needed for making the quick decisions I made that day. I am very grateful for the outcome that day held. I know throughout history it could have ended a different way, but God had different plans, and somehow put the right prison museum employee in the right place and right time. And I would like to extend my gratitude to Warden Strong and her staff. Thank you for recognizing my actions and for everything you do for the Huntsville community and more. Now, if someday pink uniforms are allowed, I would greatly consider TBCJ in my future.
Mr. Lumpkin, I'm kind of thinking maybe she should get a custom pink uniform, perhaps. Okay, all right, Mr. Hirsch. All right, well, Warden Strong, come up again. And Mr. Lumpkin, come on. Now I would like to take a moment and thank my fellow board members. I recognize you're all busy and very accomplished, and you didn't have to take on this role because your schedule is empty and you had nothing to do. But you raised your hand because you want to serve. And I am honored and humbled to be serving alongside of each of you. And this week I was reflecting back on many of the things this board was able to get done in this prior year. For example, a system-wide initiative to bring technology inside our facilities began in earnest this year. Inmates are now issued tablets and receive educational, vocational, religious, and legal materials. The device allows for phone calls, messaging, and numerous other programs. To date, more than 54,000 tablets have been distributed. We have made some real improvements in offering inmates a healthier diet. Individuals can now grab a tray that is not only better for them, but it tastes better too. This same is true in our commissaries. Men and women now have more choices than ever when it comes to healthy products. The board has also been active in a new initiative to reduce the amount of sack meals being served and instead, where possible, offering hot meals. TBCJ and Windham School District are rolling out the program to flash freeze fresh meals and then serve them when needed, and that should begin early next year. Hopefully soon, no one will know what a Johnny Sack is or was. In September of this year, we celebrated the grand opening of the new TBCJ Career Center at the West Hill Mall in Huntsville. This center provides space specially designed to serve as the agency recruiting center and will be utilized as the TBCJ recruiting hub. Another accomplishment we can be proud of is the renaming of facilities in honor of deserving individuals. We've been very active here, renaming 6 facilities in the last 3 years, honoring distinguished leaders in the field of criminal justice, with one, as far as I can tell, the first ever memorial to fallen staff. And in collaboration with the Texas Prison Museum, we began fundraising efforts for a permanent memorial at the Texas Prison Museum, a wall similar to the Vietnam Memorial with names of not only those that passed away due to COVID-19, but all who have died in the line of duty throughout the history of the agency. This is an ongoing effort, and we look forward to honoring these staff. The board has been extremely busy approving significant renovations and repairs inside our secure facilities. This biennium, you all will have reviewed and approved more than $100 million in projects. Mr. De Ayala, you have served an outsized role in this effort as you chair the Business and Financial Operations Committee, and your sure leadership is going to be sorely missed, sorely missed. Finally, one of the most visible accomplishments is the change in the format of our meetings. For a long time, we came together in Austin and in Austin only. But this year, for the first time, our meetings were held all across this great state. This allowed us greater flexibility to visit facilities and meet the men and women of TBCJ, several of whom we were able to honor here today. It has truly been an honor traveling with all of you, all of you. Thank you. And finally, my Christmas message. Christmas is just around the corner, and while this has been a challenging couple of years, we still have much to be thankful for, and especially in the words of 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 15, thanks be to God for his indescribable gift. On behalf of the entire board, I would like to say how thankful we are for the men and women who serve the state as employees of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. For those in the audience and thousands working right now, you should be proud of your accomplishments of the past year. Your hard work has built a strong, positive reputation. Whether you supervise inmates on the street, walk the runs on a unit, or coordinate administrative tasks in an office, your job is important to this agency and this great state. Your work ultimately helps make Texas a safer place to live, to work, to thrive. On behalf of the governor, the Board of Criminal Justice, and the citizens of this great state, I thank you for your dedication and performance. The Board of Criminal Justice wishes all TDCJ employees Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. And Mr. Collier, thank you for leading this dedicated team of public servants throughout the year. Guided by your leadership, TDCJ continues to meet challenges head-on and to continue to be the #1 system in the United States. Thank you, and a very Merry Christmas personally from me to you, and a Merry Christmas to you all. Merry Christmas, everybody. And from that, the next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding purchases and contracts over $1 million. Chief Financial Officer Ron Steffa will be presenting today. Members of the board, I don't ordinarily vote unless it is to break a tie. However, my firm represents entities included in the purchases and contracts over $1 million. Therefore, I will not be taking action today on the purchases and contracts over $1 million. Mr. Steffa, if you are ready, please begin.
Good morning, Chairman O'Daniel, board members, Mr. Collier. We have 5 purchases to bring for your consideration this morning. They can be found on page 17 of your packet. The first item is an increase to a fiscal year 2021 contract to a comptroller award for truck tractors. The second item is a FY23 increase to isolated soy protein that's used in the manufacturing of ground meat products. Item number 3 is an FY 2023 purchase of desktop computers. Item number 4 is an FY 2023 purchase for corn that's used for feed mixtures for livestock and poultry. And item number 5 is a purchase for FY 2023 for passenger vans. And I will pause for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Steffa. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
What kind of computers are we getting and where are we going to put them?
These are actually purchased off a Department of Information Resources contract. They'll be Lenovo computers, and these are for agency staff to use at their offices.
So all over?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a statewide contract, or is this a department-specific contract?
It's a statewide contract. The vendors are awarded through the Department of Information Resources. We'll actually bid out to all of those that are awarded those contracts to be competitive within that, and then make our choice and award underneath that DIR contract.
Any further comments? Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the purchases of contracts over $1 million as presented.
A motion, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made. It has been seconded by Mr. Nichols. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Please let the record show I abstain from voting on the purchases and contracts over $1 million. Thank you very much, Mr. Steffa. Our next item on the agenda is the Internal Audit Status Report. Director of Internal Audits, Chris Cerrito, will be presenting today. Mr. Cerrito, if you are ready, you may begin.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members, Mr. Collier. I have several updates to the status report in your package this morning. The first update is on page 2. That is going to be Project 2204. That project is now final. The second update is on page 3. Project 2211 has moved into the reporting phase. Project 2313-1808 has moved to the draft report phase. And then I have 2 additions to your status report, 2 new projects. The first one is 2311-01. That project is an investigation related to vendor payments. And then the second project is 2312-01, Innovative Prison Management Practices, and that is a walkthrough. And with that, I will pose for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cerrito. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
First of all, I like your snappy tie, Father Christmas.
No, I came prepared for you this year.
Oh, you knew, huh? Oh, I'm so glad I asked.
I'm here.
There we
I've
go.
got it for you this year.
Well, I just have one quick question. I know you're very busy this time of year, and that is Project 2211. The ISF safety probation replacements and removals, you said this is in the reporting stage, so we'll get the results of that pretty quick. And do you know if part of this audit included the waiting time from when an individual is sent to safety by a judge as a condition of probation and when they actually get there? Do you know that?
Yes, ma'am, it absolutely does. And as we go through that reporting process, that report is being drafted as we speak. Then it will go through the various levels of management, and then we'll sit down with Mr. Collier with our our recommendations and the agency's action plans. And after that, it will come out to the board. Yes, ma'am.
It's a long way. Okay, thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, Judge Francis. Are there any other members that have a Christmas wish list they would like to bring up? If not, thank you very much, Mr. Cerrito.
Thank you.
Thank you for the status report. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed land transaction, request for a natural gas pipeline easement at the Roach Unit, Childress County, Childress, Texas. Manufacturing, Agribusiness, and Logistics Division Director Billy Hirsch will be presenting today. If you are ready, Mr. Hirsch, you may begin.
Thank you and good morning, Chairman O'Daniel, Mr. Collier, members. As discussed during the Business and Financial Operations Committee, we have one item on the agenda. Palo Duro, doing business as Texas Gathering LP, is requesting to establish a 3-inch natural gas pipeline easement at the Roach Unit in Childress County, Childress, Texas, to include an area consisting of approximately 1.49 acres of land. That's 1,619.29 feet long by 40 feet wide. If you can direct your attention to the screen, the area there in red is going to be the new pipeline that's going to be installed. Palo Duro Texas Gathering has agreed to pay no compensation for the 30-year term. This will be, this will be the establishment of this easement. I'd like to point out that this easement includes language requiring identification as the grantee's responsibility, the most favored nation clause, and general liability insurance coverage of $3 million. We recommend that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve this request to establish a pipeline easement to Palo Duro Texas Gathering LP. I stand available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hirsch. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request for a natural gas pipeline easement at the Roach Unit, Childress County, Childress, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Pastor Miles. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division construction projects. Request to install monitored pulse fence detection system, perimeter Clements Unit, Potter County, Amarillo, Texas. Facilities Division Director Ron Hudson will be presenting today. Mr. Hudson, if you're ready, you may begin.
Yes, sir. Okay. Good morning, Chairman O'Daniel, Mr. Collier, members. In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install monitor pulse fence detection systems at the Clements Unit located in Amarillo, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for the board's approval for a total program cost of $5,463,200. I now pause for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install monitored pulse fence detection system, perimeter, Clements Unit, Potter County, Amarillo, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Dr. Burrow. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division construction projects, request to install monitored pulse fence detection system perimeter Cofield unit, Anderson County, Tennessee Colony, Texas. Mr. Hudson, you may proceed.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install monitored pulse fence detection systems at the Cofield unit located in Tennessee Colony, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for the board's approval for a total program cost of $6,517,300. I now pause for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install monitored pulse fence detection system, perimeter Cofield unit, Anderson County, Tennessee Colony, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Judge Francis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division construction projects, request to install monitored pulse fence detection system, perimeter Connolly unit, Karnes County, Kennedy, Texas. Mr. Hudson, please proceed.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install monitored pulse fence detection system at the Connolly unit located in Kennedy, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for the board's approval for a total program cost of $5,550,800. I now pause for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. I move the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install monitored pulse fence detection system perimeter at the Connolly unit as requested by Mr. Hudson.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Mr. De Ayala. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division construction projects, request to install monitored pulse fence detection system perimeter Michael unit, Anderson County, Tennessee Colony, Texas. Mr. Hudson, please proceed.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install monitored pulse fence detection system at the Michael unit located in Tennessee Colony, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for the board's approval for a total program cost of $5,343,300. I now pause for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one question. It may have been covered earlier. I thought I heard maybe from you, Mr. Hudson or Mr. Collier, with the redeployment of personnel out of the pickets and into the units, what is the estimated time over which these projects will essentially pay for themselves?
Approximately 7.9 years is the approximate time by putting that staff back in the units.
Thank you, sir.
We'll come up with, yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, thank you, Mr. Hudson. Are there any questions, or excuse me, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install monitored pulse fence detection system perimeter, Michael unit, Anderson County, Tennessee Colony, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made. It has been seconded by Judge Johnson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next agenda item is the discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Facilities Division construction projects, request to install monitored pulse fence detection system, perimeter Telford unit, Bowie County, New Boston, Texas. Mr. Hudson, please proceed.
In your agenda packet, you will see the job scope of a new project to install monitored pulse fence detection system at the Telford unit located in New Boston, Texas. At the Business and Finance Committee meeting, I briefed this new project and am now asking for the board's approval for a total program cost of $5,565,500. I now pause for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Texas Board of Criminal Justice approve the request to install monitored pulse fence system, detection system perimeter 12-foot unit, Bowie County, New Boston, Texas, as presented.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made, has been seconded by Dr. Burrow. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Hudson. I would like to thank all of you for coming here today and remind you that the next meeting of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice will be Friday, February 10th in San Antonio, Texas. The board will reconvene at, when are we reconvening? Okay, the board will be reconvening at 11:15 to conduct executive session, which is closed to the public in accordance with the Texas Government Code, Section 551.074. Executive session will be conducted in the Insight Boardroom. The 226th meeting of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice is now recessed. It is 10:52. Thank you.